Anyway, I'm doing really well and I have a head
Good.
cold. No, that I'm still doing really well. And I've been, looking at the lists and stuff, but so I just have a head cold and sinuses. It's not in my lungs. And I'm wondering
Okay.
what you recommend in terms of oils and protocols.
Yeah. So with a lot of mucus, is that what's going on? Like a lot of mucus in the
Yeah,
system?
but it's not terrible. It's not a terrible cold. It just, yeah, I'm blowing my nose a lot. Yeah.
Okay. So rosemary can be very helpful for the sinuses, like be it regular rosemary or rosemary verbena.
Hmm.
It can be very good. Inhaling it can be good, and even taking a few drops in water internally can be very, very good.
Okay.
Can help really knock that out somewhat. Um, you know, things like breaking up the mucus, like if you need to dry it up a little bit, you have a couple of choices. One would be terebinth. Terebinth is like a type of pine. It's actually the wood, not
Okay.
the
I don't
needles.
have
And so
that.
pine would work, but the terebinth would work better.
Okay.
Another one would be angelica, like inhaling a bunch of angelica or even
Okay.
taking a couple drops internal. If you don't have that, if you're just trying to dry it out, even some eucalyptuses can be
Okay.
good for something like that. Um, uh, I tend to like to go with like something. Do you have any sort of pine?
I probably do. I don't right now have
Yeah.
any rosemary, so I may need a substitute for rosemary too.
Okay, so if you don't have rosemary, do you have some basil?
Oh, I have lots of basil.
Yeah, why don't you just bump up and take 2, 3 drops of basil 2, 3 times a day, and
Okay.
even inhale it a bit. Like rosemary is pretty solid, but in this case, work with what you got, and
Okay.
basil's there. Now, look, if you also want to get something from the health food store, golden seal root. Like if you take 2 or 3 capsules a couple of times a day, that will clean up that mucus, and if there's infection, will also knock it out. So
Okay.
when there is a lot of mucus and a potential for an infection, with that I usually treat with oils and with golden seal, and
Hmm.
it usually will knock it out kind of quickly.
Okay. Is
Yeah.
is is quercetin good for this kind of an
Um, it,
inflammation?
it's not going to necessarily knock out the mucus. Like if it was allergy related, it would calm down the allergies, but it's not necessarily going to clean up the mucus and the runny nose or the stuffy nose.
Okay.
And it can be helpful, but probably wouldn't be as helpful as you would like. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But if it was because of allergies, it would help like prevent it. But once you're there, excuse me, even if it's allergies and then it's full blown become like a stuffy nose, I still usually switch over to the golden seal and then use something like rosemary or basil or something.
With the
And
basil, could I also do the like the blood purification protocol with that?
yeah, you could do that. Do you have hyssop?
Oh yeah.
Okay, once you do hyssop and the sinus pattern, where you do the ajna, the throat, the bottom of the throat, the cheeks and the jaws, and then the back heart, front solar, back solar. The hyssop will help reduce some of the mucus and just help open everything up, and you might find some relief from that as well. I'd still do the basil,
Fabulous.
and if you have some pine, like do the pine.
Okay.
Like terebinth is what's traditionally been used, but I find that even other pines will work. But terebinth is very drying to mucus. There's different ways of trying to address mucus. One is to expel it out, to break it down, and one is just to dry it out. And if it needs to be dried up, terebinth works. But if like the nose is running a lot, the angelica will stop it usually pretty quick.
Okay.
But so will golden seal. Like the golden
Okay.
seal will probably turn that off kind of quickly. Like if the
Okay.
nose is running all the time, like sometimes your nose will just like turn into a faucet
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just like pouring out. Like Angelica and or golden seal will usually knock
Okay.
that out.
And so
Yeah.
the basil, I'll do a couple drops twice a day internally, and then I'll use the hyssop's in the sinus powder. And Letty, thank you
Yeah.
for posting that for me. So I'll
Yeah.
pull that off the chat. Fabulous. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Keep us posted.
I will. By the way, my shingles healed really well and really quickly. That neem
Oh, good.
oil, oh my God,
Yeah.
that was the
Yeah.
best.
It's amazing.
It is so amazing. It's stinky. It's
Oh,
not.
I don't mind the smell. It was great.
Oh,
It was great.
good for you. Like
Yeah,
I
thanks.
have a t-shirt that I used it on and I had to just throw the t-shirt
Oh
on
yeah,
there.
it does.
That t-shirt will never be the same.
Okay.